Okay. Hello, I am Kari Samuels, your intuitive counselor and happiness coach, and we are finally here with this holiday thriving event. So I'm going to be doing some readings today. So I'd love to know your life path number, and I'm going to be talking about all the life path numbers as we talk about how to manage your energy during the holidays and always. And I'm going to be doing some personal readings as well. So to do that, I'd love to know your life path number. So you can find that at karisamuels.com/calculator. That's KARISAMUELS/calculator. I need to introduce Jess again, in case you weren't here during the technical difficulty part. Happiness officer, chief happiness officer. Jess is going to be looking at your questions, and thankfully Jess was there letting us know before that nobody could hear us.
Crazy days. Are we still in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, or are we?
We're definitely in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. So when Mercury goes direct, there's this retrograde shadow integration period where it can actually feel more retrograde per capita because things are just like rushing to have you catch up with them and integrate them. So until December 6th of 2019, if you're watching this in the future, just know that, and that there's a shadow period after every Mercury retrograde. So, and that's an integration time. That's a processing time. Just so you know, in 2020, we're having a lot of personal planets in retrograde. So retrograde energy is here to teach you to tune into yourself. I'm going to be talking about that a lot more in the future. And of course, Jess and I are preparing for our annual forecast event, which is going to be great. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be an extravaganza this year because we're headed into a new century. Oh my God. A new decade. And there's a lot of significance to that. I'll be talking more about that later. You can count on that. And today we're talking about managing your energy, how to thrive during the holidays, and of course, how each life path number manages their energy differently and what you need to do to stay happy and healthy and really thrive. Holidays can be super stressful. Really, every day as an empath can be stressful unless you know how to manage your energy, right? So, and I want to make sure too, just people can hear me. Is that correct?
So there are still some people that are saying that they can't hear, and I'm not exactly sure why. I've got it playing on my laptop over here, and it's working fine. So if you're having trouble hearing,
refresh your page or like log back on or something.
Yeah, log out, log back on, and there will be a replay for sure. So
I always see everything as a metaphor. So I'm going to, because this happened today, I want to interpret this because everything in our universe is here to, it's like a message for us, right? So anytime things aren't working, there's a message about that, right? So let's talk about this, right? So when things go wrong in your life, that's the universe's way of telling you not that you're wrong or that you're doing anything wrong, but sometimes you need to try a different tack, right? So I love that people are refreshing the page because in a way, like this new decade that we're coming into is a reset as well. And there's a lot of, I feel like this past year, people have had a lot of trouble making progress with your goals, and you feel like, what's wrong with me? Is something wrong with me? And I'd love to hear your comments, by the way. A lot of people at the top of this, as we're wrapping up this year and wrapping up this decade, I feel like a lot of people have this feeling like I didn't accomplish that much, or I didn't accomplish as much as I wanted to, or I had all these goals and I didn't do enough of what I thought I wanted to do. And I just want to remind you that 2019 was a year of creativity and expression and emotional expression. I say was, we're wrapping it up. That's why. And it's really important as you move forward for you to have a sense of looking at your life in a way where you appreciate your growth at least as much as your productivity, and hopefully more. Because your life isn't measured by your productivity, but in our culture, we tend to measure our life by productivity. And I know I wasn't going to talk about the 2020 energy, but because this refresh and this reset had to happen for people to be able to tune in, right? And the way to really move forward is to tune into yourself and then tune into the messages of the universe. So it's really important that you have a time to reset and you have a time to refresh. And while you're doing that, instead of focusing on what you have not accomplished and all the things on your list you haven't done yet and what it is that you thought you set out to do, this decade of the teens, so to speak, was all about learning how to stand up for yourself, learning what's important to you and learning who you really are. Now, the next decade is going to be very much about taking action on that. But it's important to remember that you're a human being, right? It's not about what you've done. You've grown so much in this past year, and this was 2019 still is a 3 universal year, and that's about emotional expression and speaking from your heart. And when you're living and being and experiencing life from your heart, the creative process is a messy process. It's not a linear process. So I want to remind you that your growth is the most important thing. The love that you have learned and all the lessons that you've learned, that's the most important thing you can do, right? So if you didn't do as much as you thought you wanted to do on your list, throw out the list, right? The universe is telling you there's more important things. It's not to say your list isn't important. And trust me, 2020 is definitely a year of the lists. I'm a Virgo, I love lists. But it's not about that. It's not about that. You've had a lot of spiritual lessons, and a lot of what this year has been about, and really the past several years, is what you don't want, what you will no longer tolerate, and how you want to express yourself moving forward. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that has helped you be kinder to yourself as we're wrapping up this year and wrapping up this decade. Because I think the amount of kindness that you give to yourself is so much more important than really just beating yourself up for not doing enough. And I think we all have that feeling like, oh my gosh, I had so many plans for this year. And where did this go? Where did this time go? It went into you learning who you really are. And the more you know who you really are and the more clarity you have around that, moving forward, when we get into this new decade, especially this 2020 year, which is a 4-year of action and grounding and foundations, then you're going to have so much. The more clear you are and the more in alignment you are with who you are, you can actually manifest more quickly. Trees, they're growing, all plants, everything that grows, you're growing a lot underground first, and you need that nourishment. So let's talk about the nourishment. And Jess, are there any comments there that need to be addressed, or anything that as I'm speaking about this?
No, lots of people excited looking up their life path numbers and excited for that. But it also seems like some people, just to let you all know, that some people have left and come back and now they can hear. So
oh, good. Okay.
I guess they can't hear me saying this, but
yeah. And I want to talk about that creativity more, because sometimes you're trying to do something and you're hitting a wall. And that's the universe's way of saying, now, if you feel it in your heart that you're meant to do something, it's not that hitting a wall is telling you not to do it necessarily. It's saying you need to be more creative about how you're doing it. And sometimes that means taking more risks. Sometimes that means connecting with other people to find a different perspective. It's really about finding creative solutions, right? Because it's like, okay, this wasn't working, and I know I want to get on this broadcast, and here's the right link. And sometimes it's just like, okay, I'm just going to try again from a different angle, in which case is like a refreshing your browser. So I just want to remind you that if you have a feeling in your heart that you're meant to go somewhere or do something or change your life in one way, and you hit a wall, just find a different path, okay? It's not about you not doing it. It's about the universe trying to get you to be creative in your solutions. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm going to talk about each specific life path number and how you manage stress and energy and what you need to do to be happy, especially during the holiday season. The thing I wanted to talk about is, especially for empaths, making sure that you're taking time to yourself, even during this busy season, and tuning into what's really important to you. And the one main thing that my guides wanted me to express to you today was not to make decisions out of guilt. So there are many opportunities for you to feel guilty this holiday season. For instance, we have some social contracts that aren't in your best interest. For instance, let's say it's not appropriate for you to go to certain family events because they stress you out, or not even family events, like events at work that you think, oh, people are going to think I'm a horrible person if I don't go to this, but you're truly like needing this time to yourself. And there's two reasons that people make decisions during the holidays that tax them too much. One, I really should go to this because this person expects me to do this, but I don't want to, or these people expect me to, but I don't want to. Or I feel guilty because I should. This is what the social construct is. This is what society tells me. I need to go to this because they're my families or coworkers or really good friends. But if you are truly like needing time to yourself or feeling uncomfortable in a certain situation, guilt and what people are going to think if you don't are two reasons not to. Okay? I want to remind you of that because there's so many times that we're making our decisions, or even like how or what you buy for people. A lot of times is that sense of what are they going to think of me, and a sense of guilt. And so I really want to emphasize your need for time to yourself. Next year is going to be really big. We have this amazing conjunction at the top of the year, something that hasn't happened with these planets for hundreds of years. So you really need to manage your energy well, because next year you are going to need your strength and your discipline and really a certainty about who you are. So start managing your energy now, because the more you dissipate your energy, the less you're going to have to fulfill your dreams. And I don't want it to sound scary about next year. Next year is a year to build your dreams. Really, it's about structure. And so you really want to be very clear about your time and your space and where you're delegating those resources. Because we have a lot of it in Capricorn this year and next year. And Capricorn, ruling planet is Saturn, which is about boundaries. Your teacher. Once you have good boundaries and you have strength and structure. So I hope that I've reminded you to take care of yourself and which ways to make decisions and which ways not to make decisions. So take a lot of time to yourself and really be clear, is this a good use of my time and energy? Or am I making this choice out of guilt or fear of what people will think of me? Just a reminder, okay? Because that's going to really help you manage your energy and your time during the holidays. And of course, salt baths, Epsom salt baths can cleanse your energy, and chakra meditations and cleansing and balancing your energy every day. So important. Okay. So let's go through the numbers here. Or Jess, is there anything else I need to address before we move on?
No, just lots of people commenting on how challenging this past year has been.
This past year has been incredibly challenging. I wish I could say it's going to let up. It's actually all leading toward, the past 3 or 4 years have actually been culminating toward 2020. And that's going to be a super pivotal year, and probably one of the most important in our lifetimes. And this is all to help you really be true to yourself. The more true you are to yourself, the easier and more joyful and prosperous things will be. The universe has been showing you where you're giving away too much of your energy, or you're not being true to yourself. Now, this year was all about truthfulness and authenticity, and you're really being tested when you make excuses for other people, when you make excuses for yourself, when you're dissipating your energy on things that are, other people's dramas, or helping other people too much, and not focusing on your own well-being, or not expressing who you really are, and not expressing your feelings. It's what this has been about. And if you've been keeping too much of your truth inside of you, the universe will show you that it's time for you to express that. So be true, be authentic, and share who you really are. And then the more you do that, the more in alignment you will be with your soul's purpose, and the more the universe will avail itself to you with opportunities. I don't believe the universe is a vending machine. I'm really not a fan of the way the law of attraction is taught, that like anything you think or want that the universe gives you. Absolutely not. In my opinion, you have to be in alignment with what your soul intended. So this brings us to what we're talking about here in terms of the life path numbers. The life path numbers, in my experience, are one of the most incredible tools to understand what your soul intended. And most people, when they learn about their numerology, Jess and I were just talking about this yesterday, one of the things I hear all the time is, I wish I'd known this years ago. I wish I had known this years ago, because this would have saved me a lot of anxiety, stress, beating up myself, all the things. Because one of the things about learning your numerology, I said this in my previous broadcast, that you choose your life before you're born, your circumstances. You also choose your birth date, because your birth date gives you an idea of the energies that you're manifesting in this life, the energies that you're playing with in this life, and also it's a blueprint. It's a gift from the universe to help us decipher what it is our soul intended. It's a map. It's a compass. And when you understand more about your chart, right? Like what your soul charted in this life, it helps give an understanding of, first of all, why you've had certain challenges, because every number has gifts and challenges. And the whole point of your life path and understanding your life path is knowing that what is your greatest gift, what it is you're sharing with the world, often is a result of you transforming your greatest challenges. So understanding your life path gives you an idea of your gifts and what you need to be happy, as well as, wow, this is why I've had these challenges. This is why I had to go through that. And when you understand that, it helps first of all, you forgive yourself, because I think, especially if you're an older soul and you have an idea, like, I chose this life. You're like, I don't even understand. Why would I choose that? Why would I choose to have that experience? Why would I choose to have that challenge? And then when you start to look at life from a soul perspective, which is one of the things that numerology teaches you, is that you realize your soul is wise. And the older souls actually take on more challenges. And so when you understand your life path number, you understand what your challenges are, why you've had them, how your soul is growing from them, and what you need in order to be happy, how you express yourself. So I'm going to go through each of the life paths right now and give you an idea about how you can best manage your energy during the holidays, especially. Now, this applies to all year round, but especially during the holidays. So I want to remind you, you can find out your life path number at KariSamuels.com, KariSamuels.com/calculator. Open a new browser when you do that, because you don't want to get disconnected from the broadcast, but if you do, just pop right back on. So let's go through, Jess, anything I need to address before I move on to that?
Rosabella says, can the life path change through the years? I had my numerology done 20 years ago. Will it be pretty much the same? I'd like
Absolutely the same. Your life path is your birth date added together. So you add the day, the month, and the 4-digit year, and you get your life path. You get a composite, you get a double-digit number from that, and then you reduce that double-digit number unless it's a master number. So yes, your birth date never changes, and the way we derive your life path number is through your birth date. And I know we're not talking about the destiny number now, which is derived from your name, because your name is no accident. But I know a lot of people have this question about their name as well. It's the name you were given at birth is also part of your path. And some people say, I don't like my name given at birth. You know, a lot of people don't like their circumstances given at birth, but that's part of what you chose. And you can change your name, actually, and you can change your number, but your destiny number doesn't change, because that's the name you were given at birth, whether you were adopted and it was changed or any of that. And some people say, oh, but you know, my birth certificate says one thing. There's discrepancy on this. I know a lot of numerologists say, oh, it's what's on the birth certificate. I'm like, nope, it's the name you were given, whether or not that's on a birth certificate or not. Whatever your parents named you, which was part of what was derived from your spirit guides and your soul came together to find that name. That is your name. Those things do not change. That is your chart, right? That is like the snapshot of your life when you were born. So let's go through this now. And I hope you have your life path number now. And if not, you know, look it up as we're talking. So the 1 life path. Now, the 1 is the first number. Now, 1 is very connected to the crown and gets ideas. Oh, they're the idea number, right? I mean, all numbers have ideas, right? But this is very much associated with the crown chakra and information that comes through the crown. So because of that, now 1, 5, and 7 are mental numbers. You're mental, but they're very much associated with the mind. And so you can get caught in your mind and you can get caught analyzing. Now, the 1 especially, you're downloaded with so many ideas, right? So there's so much more to do at the end of the year. So for the 1 life path, the 1, 5, and 7 especially, they're associated with movement. 1 especially, for you to stay happy and sane throughout the whole everything throughout your life, and especially during the holidays, you need to be creative and you need exercise. Those are 2 things that the 1 life path always needs. And so if you're not doing either of those things, and it's easy for you during a more stressful time to really push that aside, this is when you need it the most. So especially if you feel yourself too much in your head, you need to get more in your body. And you need to move, walk, run, get on a bike, whatever, move. And also ground your energy. you need to make sure you're really grounded, because that energy is all up here. You want to bring it down here. Now, again, all of this information is going to apply to all life path numbers, but this is especially for the one. Take this energy from your mind, focus on your breath, and bring it all the way down through the soles of your feet down into the earth. Got it? Okay. Now we're going to move on to the 2. We got to be brief, otherwise I'll be here all day. And for those of you, if you've been on my email list, you'll know that right now I have 50% off of my numerology illuminated course. We go really, really in depth with all of the life path numbers. I have to go really quickly right now because that course is 3 hours plus there's 2 1-hour Q&A MP3s that you get with that. So if you really want to go in depth, and I highly recommend you do, to know yourself and your family and your children, parents, about whatever, 50% off numerology illuminated, where we go very much in depth with the life path. So that's karisamuels.com/numerology-illuminated. We'll put a link down below as well. Okay, let's move on to the 2 life path. Now the 2 life path, where the 1 is about the self, the 2 is about other. So 2s always need mirroring. So you have to be very, the 2s definitely can lead toward the people-pleasing energy and over-giving energy, because it's very other-oriented. And you tend to give too much and then also get torn apart with like, oh, this person wants this of me, but I want this for me. So you have to make sure, you 2 life path, you beautiful 2 life paths out there, first of all, that you're not seeking affirmation outside of yourself. That you're not doing things, again, to think because of other people's expectations of you. And it's really important that you take time. Now, salt baths are, like, I would think, a must for you, especially during this holiday season, because your nerves can get very fried because you're focusing so much on like other people's expectations of you. So it's really important that you take quiet time, especially in or around water if you can. That's why I recommend salt baths. 7s are very associated with water as well. And really take quiet time. And as you're making decisions, ask yourself, am I doing this because other people expect it of me, or because this is really good for me? That's important for you all year round, but especially now. Now, the 3 life path, one of your major life lessons is to learn how to communicate what's inside of yourself. And what happens with the 3s is they tend to think that everyone is as sensitive as they are. Right? The 3s tend to think, well, I feel this. They should know how I'm feeling simply by me. I'm looking at Jess. I'm amazed that Jess was able to type that out so quickly. She's a 7 life path, as she gets it. But the 3s need to learn how to really tune into themselves and express what's in their heart, and also not to expect other people to read your mind or your feelings or your thoughts. Because what you can do is also let people get away with things. Like, let's say somebody says something to you that is, you know, a relative at Thanksgiving, that or whatever. Someone says something that's upsetting to you. Instead of keeping it inside, it's really important that you say something. It's really, now again, we're in 2019, we're all in a 3 universal year, with the 3 life paths tend to get upset that other people don't read their minds and their thoughts. And then you can kind of play a little bit of emotional blackmail, like, well, I'll just let them figure it out. And then they don't, and then your feelings are hurt, but you're swallowing this energy. So it's really, really important that, and Jess, can we put up life path 3 now? Because I don't want the 3s to get confused because the 2 is there. Does that make sense? So yeah, the life path.
Still typing it. You were
life path.
So
there's so many words now. It's so funny because 3 is all about the words. So the 3s need to learn how to tune into themselves, not expect other people to read their minds or their hearts, and actually share and express what you're feeling. And it might be helpful for you to write out your feelings before you express them if you're concerned that you don't know how it's going to be received or whatever. Write them out first, because the more you express your feelings, the more liberated you'll be, and the more alignment you'll have with yourself and the universe. Let's move on. Isn't that funny? Now I had a little something in my throat. I wonder if that's all the feelings, right, that we're talking about. Life Path 4. Life Path 4 is you're here to learn about authority and leadership. The thing is, when things feel stressful, you tend to want to control things. Again, Jess, let's get the Life Path 4 on here now too, so that we don't, the 4s can focus on themselves, what they need to know as well. So Life Path 4, authority and leadership, and know not to control your environment. Because what happens is, when you're feeling things are out of control, you try to control them. So it's important for you, when you find yourself wanting to control your environment, that you stop, take some breaths, and say, I'm going to release my need to control other people who I cannot change, and make everything around me an order that I cannot control. Basically, you can't fix other people. You can't make them do things that they're not, and you can't control everything in your life. So make sure you're taking some deep breaths, and imagine that there's water moving through you, so that you get that sense of flow instead of control. And say a prayer to release your need to control and allow things to flow. And let people be who they're meant to be. You can't fix other people, right? Now, again, this applies to all of the life paths. You can't fix other people. You can't make them who they're not. You can't control everything in your environment or everyone in your environment. All you can do is let go and let the universe work its magic. Let's move on to the 5 life path. Now, the 5 life path is all about freedom, adventure, excitement. And the 5 life path wants to experience everything at all times, wants to have fun all the time. And it is a number of fun. It's a number of fun and adventure and excitement. You can burn yourself out if you try to go to every party and do everything and stretch yourself too thin. This is a life lesson for you in general. And if you do too much of this, if you try to do everything all the time, like, oh my gosh, the year is ending, the decade's ending, I have to do everything, and I have to go to every single party or whatever, then you're going to burn yourself out. And this is a life lesson for you, not to try to do too. Now, again, this is a number of freedom. So you need to have variety and you need to have adventure. And yet you also need to learn how to find the balance in that with structure, right? And security. So go out, enjoy yourself. Don't do too much and don't burn yourself out. And remember, 5 is one of those numbers that need to move. So make sure you're not being too much in your head, and make sure that you are exercising and breathing and grounding. Now let's move on to the 6th life path. Again, I'm being very brief with this because there's just so much to talk about with all of the life paths. And again, you can find more information. We have that wonderful sale going on at KariSemlis.com at that numerology illuminated course. The 6th life path feels responsible for everybody. And the 6th life path has life lessons around learning how to delegate responsibility. They're the 1 life path are very much like this as well. They're the ones that, and the 4 life path, they're the ones that say, you can't do things, other people can't do things right. I'm the one that has to do them myself. So let's say you're going to Thanksgiving dinner here in the United States, if you're in the United States, or whatever you're doing, or a holiday party, and you cook your dish amazingly, and you know how to cook all the other dishes amazing, and people are just not not bringing the right dishes or whatever, or they're not cooking it the way they want, or they're not setting the table the way you want, or making the home the way you want, or organizing things the way you want, and you feel like, I have to do this myself. Don't. Big life lesson for the 6th life path. Again, the 1 and the 4 have this as well. Big lesson. You must learn how to delegate responsibility. And yes, you probably can do things better than everybody else, but that doesn't mean you should. It means that you are learning how to hold space for people as they learn, as you're guiding them. Maybe you're not trying to fix or control them, but you nurture. 6s are meant to nurture and see the best in people. So as you see the best in people, not what they're not doing right or not good enough that you have to do, but okay, they don't do this as good as me now. Or yes, I can do this better than other people, but I'm going to let people do things in their way, and then visualize them doing it in a way that's better, so that you keep them moving forward with your positive visualization of them, of what they can do, not what they're not doing right. So I hope that makes sense for you. Now let's move on to the 7 life path. The 7 life path needs alone time. Probably, the 2 and the 7 and the 9 need alone time. I mean, all of us are empaths, so we all need alone time. The 7, it's built into what you're made of. The thing about the 7, you can get so many downloads and so much information at once, and so much psychic energy coming through your body. If you don't take time to process what that is, you are going to get so scrambled. And you can tend to analyze things as well. So it's really important for you to tune into your feeling nature, to tune into your intuition, to help you make decisions this holiday season, especially about what you need to do, what's right for you. And you must take time to yourself. And I would very much recommend journaling right now as well, so that you get a clear idea of what's inside of you, because you can be so busy and so stretched out with like so much information, you're not even realizing what you're processing. And this is why 7s need alone time. And the thing about the 7, you can kind of feel like you're from another planet anyway. Like, what am I doing on this planet? And that might actually go towards a sense of isolation, feeling of isolation, like, wow, I don't relate to anybody. So maybe instead of focusing on connecting with people that you don't relate to, and taking not taking enough time to yourself, make sure you're taking time to yourself, and make sure you are connecting with people who do understand you. And maybe this is the time to even find those people as well, because you can feel like, geez, maybe you don't relate to your family of origin, and that makes you feel isolated and lonely. It's really important for you to connect with people who get you. And so Reiki is really good for the 7s, because like your nervous system can get really taxed. So really bring light to yourself and calming energy. And maybe this is a really wonderful time for you to take up something like Reiki, or learn Reiki, or get energy healing, or learn energy healing. Not to give you another thing to do during the year, but it's about not doing the things that aren't appropriate for you, and really finding these energy tools and intuitive tools to help you balance your energy. Let's move on to the 8 life path. The 8 life path is, you might know this as the number of money and abundance and prosperity. And yet, that doesn't mean that you inherently have a lot of money and abundance and prosperity, because you're meant to learn about it. You're meant to learn about how to manage money. So the thing is, and power. and energy. 8s can tend to be workaholics, so it's really important that you're not like doing too much work right now, that you are taking time to recreate and have fun and take care of your joy. And you have to remember that the more joyful you are and the more positive your energy, that the more abundance you will receive. It's also a number of big wins and big losses, right? So 8s can have really big expenses. So it's really important for you not to indulge too much in like, oh, other people's expectations of you. So you're spending too much on gifts kind of thing, because 8s have that sense like, well, I'm obligated to be like this big, you know, making everything big. So very important that you don't work too hard. Very important that you, when you're spending money, that you're asking yourself, is this a wise use of my investment? Is this going to help me? Is this nourishing for me? And is this really an appropriate use of how I'm investing my time? 8s can also get into power dynamics with other people. So it's really important that you, you know, during the holidays, we can get into these power dynamics of what with family. So instead of like going right at it and trying to defend yourself, if you find yourself like needing to defend yourself in any way, don't. Just retreat and take some time and know that you are powerful and you don't need anyone to tell you who you are or who you're not. Now we're going to move to the 9 life path. The 9 life paths, again, you know, this is the, in the tarot, this is the Hermit. Again, you can feel like a stranger in a strange land. Sometimes a lot of 9 life paths, especially it's part of their, because they need to learn how to affirm themselves. A lot of time in their birth family, they don't feel like they were understood or appreciated. And you have to, first of all, remember that that was part of your soul's plan. So especially, you know, when you see all of this holiday activity, and again, this applies to any life path, but especially the 9s. If you see holiday activity that makes you feel like, huh, why don't I have a family like that? Or maybe the 9s can either feel maybe isolated from their family, or they can feel like they're responsible for everyone and everything in their family and in the world. So first of all, make sure you are not taking on too much responsibility. People in your family, people in the world. It's hard to see when they're not as fortunate as you are, no matter how fortunate or not fortunate you feel, but also no one is your responsibility. Your responsibility is for your own well-being. And also that remind yourself that in this life, this was about choosing your soul family, not necessarily your family of origin. And that there's lots of soul family out there for you to connect with. And I hope that helps you, fellow 9 life paths. And 11 life paths, if you didn't recognize, this is also this is a higher vibration of 2. That doesn't mean it's better than 2, by the way. It's a master number, so this is about mastering your life. So this is like the double 1. So you can get very stressed out in terms of your nerves. The 11 tends to like make your nervous system like high octane. So really important that you're taking baths, that you're salt baths, that you're doing things to calm your nerves, that you're taking this alone time, that you're breathing and meditating, and also that you're not hiding. So 11 life path, you're meant to be a light in the world and a leader that way. So if there's something you want to do before the end of the year to really put yourself out there, I recommend it. Same thing for the 22 life path. You're a master builder. So that's about taking the inspiration of the 11 and manifesting it on the earth. So if you haven't done anything concrete, I would take this time now to really lay some foundations for what you want to build in next year and beyond. And the 33 life path, you're the most rare life path, right? And boy, the sense of responsibility you have to make everything perfect is sometimes very unreasonable. So understand it's about process and not perfection. So you can also go back and listen to the 6 life path as well for some more guidance. And 22 life paths, you can listen to the 4 life path as well for more guidance. So I hope that's helped you. We've been here together for quite some time now. I still want to take some questions. So Jess is going to help choose a couple of questions here. We're going to read your life path number. So if you have your life path number, that's great. If not, Jess can help you calculate it. Make sure you're writing out the actual month. So like if you're born in November, instead of writing 11, write November. And that your full date of birth, including the year, and what question you have for me and my guides. So Jess, we're going to take a couple questions now. Are there any there for me?
Let's see. Well, I think we have lots of people commenting about what life path they are. So let's just give people a minute or two. If you have a specific question, put that in the chat along with your life path number, and you can go to the calculator to find that. So sorry, I think we just need to give people just a few minutes to.
Did we read calculator? I think I see the wrong link up there at spelling. Life path calculator. Is it calculate or calculator? There it is. Thank you. Okay, so any questions? And if I see some long questions, if it just like brief, because it you know, just a quick synopsis of the question.
So Jane says she's wondering if she's on the right career path. Oh, she didn't give her life path number though. Let me just calculate that real quick.
And Jane, you need to tell us what the right career path, what career path you're on. Do you know what I mean? Can we come back to Jane?
Yes.
If we can find her. But so when you're writing questions, be a little specific, like, oh, I'm a 4 life path and I'm looking at doing X, Y, and Z. Now, again, your career path is very, I want to by this with how, like, what's happening right now during the holidays, or managing your energy during the holidays, if we can. So what's the question now? I'm a 7 life path. Can you read this, Jess?
Sure. Denise says, I'm a 7 life path and I'm interested in someone who is a 9. How would we get along?
Well, that's a great question. Because every life path has what they need to be happy, right? And every life path has what you need to be happy and what they need to be happy. The 7 and 9 I find are very compatible in a lot of ways. No, I'm not one of these people that thinks any life path or any astrology sign is incompatible, right? I really feel like it's just about knowing what makes them tick. There's some energies that are more synergistic than others, and there are some that are more conflicting than others, but every sign and every life path number can be compatible. That being said, I find the 7 and 9 to be very similar in the ways that they both are here to learn more about their intuition. They're both somewhat, they can lean more toward introversion and quiet time. And you're both very intuitive, and both the 7 and the 9 can feel like strangers in this strange land. So it's good you have each other, right? And the 7 and the 9s tend to, you can both respect your quiet time. The thing about the 7s tend to analyze a little bit much and need to learn how to control their intuition, and not control their intuition, and learn how to tune into their intuition as opposed to control their, do everything in their mind. The thing is, because you both can need a lot of affirmation, so to speak, that it's important for you both not to take things personally as you're connecting with each other. It's important that when someone is having a hard time or going through something, that you don't think, oh, it's something about me. Because I really feel like these two, because you're both so sensitive to what the other people feel and think, that you don't think that's me they're feeling and thinking that about. So as long as you remind yourself that everyone is thinking and feeling and their own thing, and it's not about you or it's your fault, then you'll have more joyful energy moving forward. So I hope that helps for all the 7 and 9s. But again, I hope this applies to everyone, but especially to you, 7 and 9s and 2s as well. So I'll take a couple more questions here, Jess.
Yeah, they're coming in really fast. It's hard to keep up with them. I can't actually broadcast on the screen anymore, but somebody said that they were a life path 33, and they wondered if you could just elaborate a little bit more. You said it's about process, not perfection.
Process and not perfection. So the 6th life path, and then the 33 again is the master number version of the 6th life path. So it's the double 3, which is that emotional sensitivity and expression where you feel other people can feel what you feel or think what you think, and then you don't understand why people don't understand you. But the 6s tend to really be perfectionists, and this is that sensitivity of the double 3 and the 6. The 3, 6, 9, and 2 are like extraordinarily sensitive, especially for what other people are feeling and thinking. And because the 6s in general have that sense of responsibility and can also feel what other people are feeling, and that can let, when you do that, you can think, well, they're feeling this about me, so I want to be perfect for them. And also because you're a 33 life path and you have an extraordinary sense of that master number responsibility that already has a 6th sense of, the 6s have a strong sense of responsibility. You can have a fear like, okay, I need to be perfect before I share my gifts with the world. I need to be perfect for other people. This needs to be perfect before it can be, expressed. So that's what I mean when I say focus on process instead of perfection. If you want to find confidence in your career, do things before you're confident, and that's going to make you feel confident. Trust me, going on videos and Facebook Lives and doing live readings on air, no one starts out being like, yeah, I got this. It's like, that takes a while. So you have to really do things. Again, this is for everybody. Do things before you're confident, and that's how you get your confidence. So I hope that helps. We're going to take one more question because we're wrapping up the hour here. It's amazing how time flies here. Oh, Karine, hi. She's a fellow B schooler. Hi, how can I help? Can you read her question?
Sorry. She says, I'm a life path 5. How can I manage the change occurring now to expand my service to the world with my psychic abilities?
Oh, your psychic abilities. That's beautiful. 5s tend to be very clairvoyant. They tend to see things with their mind. And so you have a good vision about what you want in the world. Now, 5 is also associated with the throat chakra, right? And I'm reading this generally for all 5s as well. The throat chakra, one thing about 5 is about experiencing the world from your 5 senses and breaking down structures. So the more daring you are, the more revolutionary you are, the more success you're going to have. So what happens is you can look at structures, and even if you're someone who makes structures, you're making new structures, right? You're tearing down old ones and making new ones. So if you're one of these people that are like, wow, this isn't the way people have done it, so this may be a little risky, that's perfect for the 5 life paths. Know that you are a revolutionary, and you're here to bring revolutionary ideas, revolutionary new structures, revolutionary ways of doing things. So the more unique, the more different, the more daring you are. That's that throat chakra, like when you're thinking, oh my God, what are people going to think if this has never been done before, this has never been shared before, then it can feel scary, right? So remind yourself that that's part of your life path. The other thing is that 5 is associated with media and broadcasting and anything having to do with media. So the more media, I feel for you, especially like radio shows, podcasts, videos, get your voice out in the world in a media kind of way. And also 5 is associated with teaching and learning. So definitely be teaching as much as you can, even if you're a guest teacher on other people's podcasts. So I hope that helped. I feel like we need to wrap it up now because we're getting at the top of the hour. And I don't want to be one of those things that make it more stressful for your holidays, because I want you to go out and do all these things we talked about. So I hope this has helped you. And remember, I cannot stress enough the importance of knowing your life path number, the life path number of your family, the life path number of your loved ones, especially if you're a parent and you want to raise your children really with a deep understanding of them. If you have any kind of partnership, a business partnership, if you have colleagues, coworkers, basically every application of life, it's really important to understand how people, what makes them tick. What makes you tick? What's more in alignment with your soul's purpose? What's in alignment with their soul's purpose? I highly recommend that you invest in this. It's a very nominal investment. It's 50% off right now. Numerology Illuminated. This is my signature course on life path numbers. We're diving deep into life path numbers, and I teach this with the tarot. So it's actually like learning the tarot and numerology at the same time so that you can interpret both. And if you know anything about me, I teach in a really fun and easy way. It's really, it can really change your life once you understand why things have happened to you, what your true nature is, and how you can align yourself with your soul's purpose moving forward. So I hope you take advantage of that. We have the link below. That's at karisamuels.com/numerology-illuminated. In the meantime, I hope that you are feeling really good about yourself and are kind to yourself, and remember to focus on what you've done rather than what you haven't done so far. I love you so much. This was so much fun, and I love you, and take care. Bye for now.